Disney Plus. It's a great show. So
multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little.
Welcome back to another episode of Marvel Mondays. We're going to have a not too eventful of an episode today. We have only one real topic to talk about. But before we get started with that, let's go ahead and bring in the panel while we're at it. How you doing, you guys? Nice. So it looks like we have joining us today, we have Miscap coming back. Of course, JT. Mr. Johnny Boy, and missing is what I used to say the greatest co-host of Marvel Mondays, but it looks like the greatest co-host isn't with us today. So I'm gonna write that in his review. I mean, if you're out there listening, Mr. Oyman, I'm gonna get my clipboard out. But how you guys doing today? Oh yeah, definitely. Hopefully, like the JT and Miss Cap are mentioning, where we're at over here in the great state of Texas, we are experiencing some heavy rains and such like that throughout the past couple of days. So hopefully everything stays the way it currently is, and there's no the storms don't start like messing with the signals and all that. So let's just get right into it then. So if you guys could check my board, the bulletin board today is rather sparse. So we got on the news segment, it's not even gonna go much because we got the like a fart in the wind. We got new rumors on some of those potential Marvel games that will be shown again potentially at the D23 showing for the Marvel and Disney game divisions, and this rumor circling was that Ubisoft was going to be making a Blade game based on one of the mocap actors started sharing some stuff that made it seem like it was a Blade game and that they were working on it, and it seemed like he got ahead of it. But before the rumors could get too crazy, between yesterday and today, Ubisoft come out and say, hey, as cool as it would be, we are actually not working on a Blade game. So, oh well. I mean, there goes that news. I didn't even get to scrap it off the board before we got started, but that's how fresh that newer news came. But either that, it just still leads to the potential of a Blade game being made, maybe not by Ubisoft. But we still have hopes that we might see that EA Black Panther game that's supposed to be being made as well. But again, if it goes the same way as Ubisoft, that might be a false rumor too. Would you guys be excited to see those two characters get their own games, or not really? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about yeah, man. What about you, Mr. Joestar? Does this newer news come as a bit of a disappointment to you, or indifferent? Yep. Oh yeah. And they gave you the option too. They gave you the option to like straight up without even getting the intel out of him to just murk him. Yeah, I actually still have my copy with a strategy guide book too, that I bought a few years ago because I remember I played a little bit of it when I was younger, but my parents wouldn't buy it for me because it was like rated M for mature and very violent, so I had to have played at like friends and such. But once I saw it at I think it was at a movie trading company, the guy's like, "Well, that thing ain't moving. So if you buy that game, I'll throw in that strategy guide in for you." And I was like, "Deal." And yeah, so oh, I remember Manhunt. Yeah, it's brutal. Yep. Yeah. Well, even the characters felt a little bit like too similar to each other, even though they had their own like one or two unique little combos. Overall, it just felt like everyone had the same amount of damage that they were dealing. Everyone basically, other than the Hulk, jumped about the same. It just felt like it was the same character with a different skin. Oh, X-Men Legends. Yeah, yeah, DC Universe Online. I was about to mention that one. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second real quick. Let me just replay the thing. Damn. No, give me one brief second. One brief second. It looks like you weren't picking up. Could you guys still hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What the hell? Alright, so that's weird.
What happened? Were we not online or something?
No, it was like you guys were extremely low. So the first like 7 minutes, I guess, or so, or like 10 minutes, you guys were like super low and we couldn't hear you guys. But it looks like
Oh
it might
my
have been.
God.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there.
Oh.
It was literally
Looking at
on
myself here.
Yeah. So in hindsight, basically what the panel was saying is that the MCUs bring these other characters that to the mainstream were very like, I wouldn't say unknown, but they weren't very well known, and this opens up opportunities to either retry some franchises that were already made or bring in new characters, which would be pretty fun. But like Mr. Johnny Joestar just mentioned, I feel like Marvel and Disney need to kind of reel it back a little. It looks like the success of Spider-Man and such like that on the PlayStation kind of is making them go a little bit gun-ho and not really paying attention to who they're lending their IPs at, like Square Enix with the Avengers. So hopefully, or that XCon game, Midnight Suns, like you mentioned, Mr. Joestar, there's an audience for it there, but it's not a very big one. So to like, I would say personally, waste such a cool concept on that is kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but like, think about it. If you were to be like, if they would make like a Ghost Rider game, like I would like it to where even like your co-op person would be just like the Punisher, even just them two, and like or Daredevil, Spider-Man, like having like those people in because it's an open world, and you have a different way to form. But like, if you were to have Ghost Rider, like, I mean, I don't know, you could like actually ride up walls and stuff like that with your motorcycle and stuff like that, and you can like actually turn people into ash. Now, I would definitely, as a rating, I would not put it as like a teen. I would definitely make it as an M because they're supposed to be for the older crowd. They're not supposed to be like, oh my gosh, this is the Avengers. Like, yeah, they're just gonna beat them up and it's rated T because of violence. But
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like this is supposed to be like, no, like you're supposed to kill the bad guys, like because that's what Ghost Rider and Punisher do. But they don't really show that. Other than like the second movie of like Ghost Riders, though, that one was like shitty quality of him acting, but still the way that they died was like, that's more like it. Like they just turned to ash. Like it made sense. I was like, okay, that makes way more sense than just, oh yeah, he's just gonna kick my butt and I'm gonna go to jail. It's like you ain't coming from
Actually,
back.
it would be kind of cool if they did a kind of a versus game like what DC did in Justice. Sort of like, I know they have Marvel versus Capcom, but like Marvel like characters go head to head and like you can level up and play with people from all around the world and do like different armor, different abilities, that sort of thing. So that'd be kind of cool too. Just
See,
to
I would play that.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Something
pretty
I would
good.
go.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Do you know
A
what
good
game
button
would?
smasher.
You know what I would think would be pretty cool, especially since the technology has been getting better and better, and you got stuff like the Oculus Quest 2, the PSVR 2 coming out that now have like joysticks and buttons on the controllers. A very simple game would be that I would think is cool is just make like a Hulk family VR game. Like literally all you would press X to do like long jump. You would use the VR controllers to be your hands. Especially, I don't know if you guys seen like some of those PC VRs. They actually track your fingers, so you could like
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
like squeeze your palms or stuff like that. So I think it would be kind of cool to just have like a destructible environment Hulk game where you just do Hulk stuff, like government's coming in after you, or freaking Abomination, or even like She-Hulk, people like that would all show up, or you could change characters too, and each of one of them has their own like strengths and weaknesses, and I think that would
That'd be pretty
be
cool.
pretty
Yeah,
easy
it
to
would be kind of
do
cool.
and pretty fun, honestly.
Yeah.
But speaking of Hulk, She-Hulk came out this past week, and well,
Yep.
let's see what you guys thought. So before we get started, so
Uh,
most of us thought that it was gonna be, but overall, I feel like there we could rejoice a little, at least in my opinion. Not a full. Oh man, that's really quiet all of a sudden. But what's it called? Not a full cheer in my opinion. But I'll let you guys go first. We'll start with you, JT. What was your opinion of the pilot episode of She-Hulk?
I kind of feel like She-Hulk is kind of a lifetime comedy series where, first of all, the script was horrible. I think that throughout the series, I think the script is going to be awful, so to speak, because like especially it's no, the thing is, especially like in the first episode where like Smart Hulk was talking, he was like talking like in like one sentence. I was like, are you kidding me? He has more like dialogue. But anyway, that's not the point. I mean, the script was awful, but I think to me like I enjoy the first episode. I really did. Again, I think bringing the fourth. I mean, like it's a dumb comedy, and I think for the male fan especially, uh, Jennifer Walters turning She-Hulk. That's for the eye candy, obviously, because just it's right there in front of you. Like, oh, that's really
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, yes, for the eye candy, but besides that, I mean, like the jokes aren't there, but it is written by women, so again, like the script isn't it's kind of awful, but I would actually I enjoyed the first episode. I really did. It was a great, strong pilot. And again,
I'm
his say I'm
sorry.
going. I'm,
I'm sorry.
Justin, how you're
It's because like
laughing.
okay, I'm sorry, JT. Like it's just you're saying, yeah, the episode was really good, but like the writing is complete shit. Like everything looks like garbage. It's just a stupid comedy, and I'm like, so it sounds
So did
like
you
you didn't
like
really
it?
like
Or you-
it. You're
no,
like
no, I
it was
did.
just. I get it. I get it. Like it was just kind of funny because you were just hammering it down. I was like, man, where is that leash? Get it back on him. Get it back on him. He's gonna get. And I'm just waiting for the moment. He's like, you know what? To be honest, I just like looking at it, but I just wanted to go away.
No, but I think in all seriousness, I enjoyed the first episode.
There it
Uh,
is.
and every again, like it was fun, it was enjoyable. And I think that it is not my top like tier of comedy of the Disney Plus shows because of everything I just said previously. But I think that the actress who played Jennifer Walters, she's a great character. Hopefully, they will continue doing that character development, but I doubt that, of course. And I can't wait for like the cameos and to see how they interact with her in different ways that we never imagined. So overall, I thought it was a great pilot, and we'll see from there. Those are my thoughts.
It was a roller coaster. Goodness.
Yeah, it's like every good thing he said, there was a like backhanded comment. It's like it's good, but it's trash. But don't get me wrong, it was good.
But it was trash. Yeah,
It was
that's
trash.
what. No, you know what though? Like, I will actually agree to that. Like, there was just like a lot of stuff that they kind of threw in there that I was just kind of confused. Cause like it, of course, they didn't really base it like off the comic, now did they? But I know they're just trying to do like a. I'm hoping that it seems like what it is. It's like maybe like a romantic comedy for superheroes, but I don't know. Like I told you before, like I had that feeling where I was like, this is gonna be like Friends, like oh yeah, everybody knows, everybody has their own thing going on, everybody's having a good time, but there's gonna be heartbreaks and all this shit. But you know, overall, like it was I'm just gonna go out and say it and just say it was good to look at, but not really anything to be invested in. Like it was okay. It was cool to just look at, the Bruce Banner back again, and then seeing how she transformed. Like they actually did pretty good. Like the animations, it was like the CGI wasn't awful. It was just there. But I gotta say, she really curvy though. I mean,
Yeah, I
they
know,
curved,
right?
they curved the hell out of her up. I
Yeah.
totally spaced out on the fact that she had shorter hair, and I was just like, why is it that she looks so much better in like CGI? I'm not trying to say she's ugly. I'm not trying to say she's ugly. I'm not trying to say she's ugly. I'm just saying, like, I was like, wow, why does she look so much better? And
short hair,
I was
long
like,
hair.
yeah, and I was like, why does she look so much better in CGI? And is this like a thing that I have now? Like, am I just like going after like I should probably eat more green beans if I want to just
Are you
match
having
that?
some sort of an awakening, Johnny Boy?
Yeah,
There.
I probably am. I'm just kind of like I think I like green women. It's just the same thing as like same as like Spock or what's his name? Or Captain what's his name from the
Captain
Star
Kirk?
Trek? Yeah.
Kirk?
Yeah, he could definitely seduce green women. Or was it blue? I can't remember. But anyway, though, overall Hulk was okie dokie. It wasn't like the best thing in the whole world. Same thing that I felt about Mrs. Marvel. Um, I I did not like the way that they kind of rushed it again because I did feel that same way like they did Mrs. Marvel. How they were trying to explain her origin, and they just kind of like boom, 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 and then they're like, "Yeah, you're the Hulk now. You got blood on you. You're fucking green. You grow your boobs bigger. Like it's awesome." And then it's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's where the hell do I get green shit like that so I can become bigger?" I'm gonna be like,
But Johnny
fucking.
Boy, but here's the thing though, I really think that this series is gonna be better than Miss Marvel.
Oh,
I really think
yeah,
so.
Huh.
yeah. I can actually give you on a prop on that one because like you're right about the cameo thing. Like this one's gonna have more cameos, which is probably why it's gonna be a little bit better. Because like honestly, like the way that they did Mrs. Marvel, she was a character that nobody really knew about, and then next thing you know, they just threw like into this whole thing with like Eternals and all this crap. I don't know what the hell, and then Mutant Ninjas but at least with She Hulk, is just we already know where she's coming from. So she's coming
Mhm.
off of like Bruce Banner, and this is like her story, but it's still relating to the whole Bruce Banner on what happened afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
totally see that this would be a little bit better than Mrs. Marvel.
Of course.
Yeah.
Look here.
Do you
So
agree, Miss Cap?
I shoot myself in the foot right now because for the past couple of weeks I've kind of been shitting on it and saying it's going to be terrible. I'm going to hate it,
Yeah.
and then me sitting down watching it and be like, all right, I'm ready to hate this thing, just to get to the end and go, well, shit, I actually enjoy it. Like honestly, I laughed a few times, and you know, it piqued my interest a little bit, and I was just like, I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I would, and I was just like, but then it's like it's probably gonna disappoint me. Sure, to start well with the first episode, and know, she's kind of quick witted and witty, and tries to one up Bruce Banner, and that type of relationship, and then
Yeah.
she's like, I'm good to go because I'm bigger and stronger, and because I'm a woman, I could do everything better, and and then she's like, all right, I'm gonna work just for whatever the hell that ending was, and then for me to be, shit, it just pulled
She's an
me in.
attorney. That's the whole thing. She's an attorney. She's in
Yes,
she's
she
in court
is.
because she's an attorney. But whatever the thing she was at the end, I was like, well, I mean, she wasn't like a hooker. She was there. She was right there with an attorney doing her stuff. Oh, but can I throw you guys a question here? So,
Yes.
especially you, Miss Cap, like, because you know Captain America. I'm hoping more
I
than
knew I
all of
was
us.
waiting for this to bring
Okay,
up.
okay.
Yes,
So,
yes.
there were two things that were in me. So, do you actually believe what Bruce Banner said was true for Captain America about losing his virginity at the ASO show?
Look here, if you are a Steve MCU fan, not fan like myself, most of us already knew that he was not a virgin. I mean, I literally told JT about this when that scene before even like She-Hulk even like was premiered, and I was just like, Cap is not a fucking virgin. It's not.
I thought he was a virgin.
As a cat, well, that I knew. Now the fact that it can he lost his virginity to a USO girl just made that all plausible because they're like, there's no way he had time to fuck when he got to the 21st century. So they're like, virginity before he went off to war. And we're like, yeah, okay, we already knew that, but thanks for making it canon, I guess.
Yeah. He has to get it
Knew.
in. He has to get it in when he can get it in. Okay, I get it. Okay.
All
right. Cool.
And also, another thing I want to say is, I think that joke is kind of okay, cool. Captain America is not a virgin. He has sex with the USO. Okay, la 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 la. Well, big deal. Actually, I thought it was pretty funny, but Miscap was like, "Oh my gosh, I read a lot of fan fiction. This is actually true." So what?
Don't out me with my fan fiction.
I just did, did I?
Damn.
Oh man!
My God!
All
right.
Wow, that's a whole other conversation here.
Quarrel on
anyway,
siblings.
But even then,
I personally knew that he was.
Yeah, he was surrounded
by. Was even a topic.
I mean, did you look at the guy? And he was surrounded by those dancers and Star-Lord's grandma and the Natalie Dormer chick that he was making out with.
That's
true. and there was a big time gap when he was going on that tour that we didn't get to see anything of. So, I mean,
technically anything's possible. Just to say he didn't he was on the run. You don't know. We don't know.
I'm sorry.
He hooked up with Black Widow. Oh shit.
It looked like they had a little something. And
I apologize.
I did say I was a fangirl, so it just comes with the territory.
The what's it called? The Black Widow thing. I mean, Mr. Joestar. If you think about it, I feel like there was a little bit of chemistry between her and Cap and Winter Soldier.
There's always been chemistry between them two.
Okay, you say that, but I think, like, no offense to Scarlett Johansson, is just like the, Black Widow. Black Widow seems like she'd be like a whore, because not saying that like an efficient whore, I'm just saying like the fact that like she got attached to one of them. I mean, she probably, she was being real sweet with like what's his face?
She's classy.
With Hawkeye for a little bit. It was weird. Like, they're friends, but they're not really lovers. And I was like, that's kind of odd.
They had like brother and sister relationship.
I mean, I guess. I mean, as we know, Marvel Universe, when it can get to adult stuff, like, it can get pretty weird. But I will say, even with Black Widow and the Hulk, like, singing him a lullaby, like, I was like,
no, that's the worst. I did not like that.
She likes that green monster.
Sweet. Don't even.
Pee-pee. She likes monster pee-pee.
Came out and said, you like the green shit too, man. You were all of oogling She-Hulk.
But
so don't knock Black Widow when you got the same craving, man.
I mean, I like Black Widow. I never said anything. I mean, I just wouldn't really compare with the Incredible Hulk. I'd just be like, well, I guess I'm shit out of luck on this one. It's just like throwing like a hot dog down the hallway. But going back to it, here's my second one. So you guys remember the fact that that She-Hulk was having drinks with Bruce Banner. Now, she was going off with like, okay, like, we have to get a drink or whatever, and Bruce Banner's like, yeah, the cool thing about us is like we have like the what's it called, the fast metabolism, and we can basically get drunk without like the puking. But I thought the whole purpose of that whole thing, like that metabolism thing, like, isn't that what Steve Rogers also had, that he couldn't get drunk?
Yeah.
Faster metabolism.
He couldn't get drunk at all.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. What the Hulk meant. He's like, oh, our metabolism burns it fast, so we get the buzz. But technically, if it burns fast, you don't get the buzz. So yeah, you don't get
Yeah.
the hangover. But yeah, technically, they're not supposed to feel anything.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. So I was really confused when they said that because even I strictly remember that like even Captain America was really pissed off because like he was trying to drink and I mean it didn't even work for him because like his body like burned it off so quick that he couldn't get drunk, which really sucked. And here he comes. I hear the exact same words from the Incredible Hulk, but he's like, "Yeah, no buzz, all buzz, but no barf." Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So, which is another thing that, like, I was just like, "So, what do you think is the actual thing for
Well,
that situation?"
And then she was hung over the next scene, even though she technically wasn't supposed to.
It's supposed to.
Yeah, yeah, and
I
that
think
really,
they tried, but like it was just like it didn't go over well. It's like, oh, we've been there, done that, but you tried to do it again and just didn't go over very well. You know, like with Captain, like in the first Avenger when when he mentioned it, so like I can't get drunk. He was getting over the death of Bucky at the time, so like he was trying to get himself drunk, but he couldn't. Like, and so that was
yep,
explained in there. But then
yep,
with She-Hulk, it's just like, oh, you can you want you don't get buzz, but then you have a hangover the next day. Like
yeah.
that's not technically how it works. If we go through Captain America's, like he has the same type of metabolism as he was explaining.
Yeah, which comes to into question though, like really big, like why in the hell would you even want to drink alcohol if it doesn't even do that? Like, so you just like the burning, shitty ass sensation that goes in your mouth?
Yes,
Like, no,
exactly right.
that's why we actually have the chasers. That's why people make mixed drinks. That's why they make it taste better because guess what? Alcohol tastes like shit. So, what are your thoughts on that? Go ahead. Do you
Uh,
agree?
they,
Yeah, I would agree.
yeah,
It's like, what's the point of drinking if you're not gonna feel the buzz?
Yeah.
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 But either way, did so we talked about it if we liked it as a whole, but like when coming to the final details, or yeah, finer details, do you guys think it was a good foot forward? Not just like enjoyable, but do you guys think it was the right decision to just release one episode? Do you feel like that had a bit of a good hook enough to bring you in? Or do you guys think it was like super, well, not super, but kind of rushed feeling like she literally
Oh
went
no.
from becoming the Hulk or She-Hulk to being able to control it, being able to do this all within like 20 minutes? Um,
it felt rushed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that's what I was talking
goodness,
about.
I know it felt very rushed. Like it's like to go do this. Yes. She wanted to go do this big. I forgot what it's called. Big lord thing. I cannot think of the word right now. And then, but she's all right. Stop. Let me show you. How I became who I became, and then spends the like next 15 minutes like explaining how she became who she became and how fast she was able to do it. Just to go back to her lawyer thing and then expose herself because a person ran through the wall, and then like, all right, this is the start of it. Here we go. See what
Yeah.
happens after this. It was just like rushed.
Man,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like, you guys are taking it too seriously. It's supposed to be rushed. Disney plus. That's what Disney shows are. I mean, like, speaking of Miss Marvel, it took like a few episodes to kind of explain the powers. It took like everything else, but in this show, one episode, 20 minutes, explain all her powers. That's why this is the bad comedy series, and it will work because I mean, like, it's supposed to be bad. I mean, like, you watch something on Thursday night, you sitting there like, okay, cool, She-Hulk's on. Let's go watch it because, you eat your popcorn, kind of drink your drink, you laugh all the bad jokes, but
Well, it's not
overall,
popcorn worthy.
it's enjoyable. I don't, actually, personally, I don't worry about the little things. Like, I feel like this show does not take itself too seriously, guys. Listen, like it's a comedy, right? Comedy shows do not take itself too seriously. So stop, kind of dissect this series and just enjoy for what it is. It's a bad romantic comedy series of Marvel, and that's how it is.
How's it going,
Hot
everyone?
taken.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
look who
Look
decided
who's
to
here.
join.
who's here?
Temporarily.
Did you bring the tranquilizers? Because JT just got mad at us. You better,
Why?
calm
I
down.
totally missed all of it. Is everything all right?
Yeah, he was
JT,
upset. He thinks we're trying to dissect the hell She-Hulk and just be like, "You're a shit movie and a shit show." It's like,
But it's so
nah,
like,
man,
you don't know
we
what
totally
team he's
get it.
you don't know what team he's rooting for though. It's like one moment it sounds like he's defending it, and the
I
next
know.
moment it sounds
We
like
get
he hates it. So we
I
don't
know,
know
we got
what's going on
scolded.
with JT. He's a wild
Yeah,
card
no.
tonight. But while we have you here, because you did say
Tonight.
temporarily, what's it called? What was your thoughts on it, Mr. Oyman?
So I liked it. I knew it would be good. I told y'all it would be good. I didn't think it was great. I think it could have been great if it was maybe given about 10, 15 minutes more to kind of expand on some of the themes it was exploring. But I really liked how I really liked the contrast between Jen and Bruce. Like Bruce, for instance, he wasn't really social. He didn't have to deal with a whole lot, so he couldn't really control his anger at first when he turned into the Hulk. And then as someone in the science field, he didn't really have to deal with too many like condescending people. Whereas Jen Walters, she learned to control her anger from a very young age. Probably, just trying to fit in with this and that and to look appeasing and calm and all. And it's kind of sad because I personally, like, I know women who have hurt or like made fun of. It's the best, even when they tell someone no. And I like that as an attorney, she really needed to properly control her anger to appear professional, even when the person that she's fighting against is a criminal or an evil person. But overall, I really liked I thought it was a good start. It was a very comic accurate portrayal of She-Hulk and who she is as a character, even though there were a couple things here and there that, like, I could see why maybe some people would think that they were kind of talking down to men or trying to make men look bad or whatever. But I didn't really like. I could see why some people would feel that way about this episode. I didn't personally get that from it, but I wouldn't completely disagree if some people took that away because, like, every guy, whether it was the lawyer guy on her team, was kind of condescending.
I was
or those
gonna
guys
say,
at the, like,
I could see
outside of
that.
the bar or
I wouldn't say
whatever.
that it didn't have it because it was very like literally every single dude we meet in this show is condescending and stuff like that. Like 100% of men were pieces of shit in this, at least in this episode.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
I feel like
with Bruce. With Bruce, obviously, it was him trying to it was Bruce trying to like be like, oh well, my experience was that with these powers, you must be a superhero. You have to abandon your whole life, which to Bruce meant like he couldn't have a wife and kids and a family. He had to struggle with being the Hulk as well as being an Avenger, and so he expects that from Jen just because she is able to control her powers right off the bat. Obviously that jealousy comes through, and you can kind of sense that he's like starting to resent her a little bit, and he's like, well, no, you have to follow the same pattern that I did, blah 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 blah. And she's like, no, I'm gonna do my own life just because I have these powers. I'm not gonna let that stop me from building what or living, following through with what I built up all this time. And I'm pretty interested to see where it goes. I think I thought things were maybe a tiny bit rushed to get here and there, especially with her getting her powers. I was like, okay, what's going on here? That editing was a little bit not great, but I thought it played better on a second viewing than the first viewing. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
And also, I think the VFX here look great, even though I do realize that they obviously put a lot of their budget and like effort into this first episode to get people hooked on, because they likely won't be that consistent throughout. With 8 more episodes to go,
Yeah.
No, overall, I thought it was a very solid first start. Definitely, I don't know. I thought it was, for what a She-Hulk show should have been, this is probably the best that you could expect.
Yeah.
Even though Marvel has given us better in the past, I really, really did like it. And I really think that Tatiana Maslany is like going to kill it. I really think she's going to be one of the standout, like, up and coming characters of the MCU.
Yeah.
I just
Can I say something though? I really do hope that I was thinking about that too, like how, like, basically the fact that, like, they kind of did show the fact that, men were a little bit condescending to the degree that even Bruce Banner feeling, like, I guess in a sense demasculated. So, like, he had to try to one up his game the whole way, to the point that he's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna beat your ass, and like completely strikes a woman. And I hope that it never goes out to the point where people are like, see, if men just get to the point, they'll just end up beating the shit out of women. And I'm like,
If they can't help their way, they'll just
What?
yeah. We'll turn into huge gorillas and we'll just beat the shit out of women. It's just like, no, this is a show. Like, I hope it's okay. Like, here, we're all having a good time. We're just eating Cheetos with our chopsticks. Like, it's totally cool.
Let me ask
No,
you.
man.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask you all something. How did you all feel about the way they talked about Steve Rogers in this episode?
Oh,
Sorry,
we already talked about
I know y'all
that.
already went into it, but I missed it. So just real quick.
Oh, I already knew he was not a virgin. That's my whole premise. I'm a fan girl. I already knew that was
I
established for
personally,
me.
hold on. I personally believe that Steve really did hold his virginity until he went back in time to meet Peggy and
No.
Hulk
Yep.
because
Yep.
Jen was like bothering him about it. He's like, you know what? It'll just be easier to say, oh, he
Yep.
lost his virginity to some girl on the USO tour because there's no proof of that. We can't really ask anyone.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
who knows? It could have been that one girl on the USO tour who was played by Quill's mom from Guardians of the Galaxy. So people are like, oh, that's Quill's great grandma. And Captain America is his great grandpa because he. I was like, well, maybe that could be the case. If so, that's super retconny.
So
I mean, they've retconned a bunch of other stuff that was much more major. So I wouldn't.
Yeah,
put it
exactly. Something
past
like Captain America losing his virginity isn't the most major kind of plot point, but who knows? I wonder if it'll be a running joke throughout the whole series.
I hope
I
not.
hope not.
I thought I didn't
hope
even
not.
think it was that funny to
I
begin
hope it's
with.
just
But
a one-off.
Yeah. Like, it was funny for this one episode, but if they bring it back again, I'd be like, okay, no need.
Yeah.
Well, you
it's just
spoke
kind of be a
about
little obsessive by then.
you spoke about a hook, Mr. Oyman, a second ago, but I know I've talked to you guys, but I feel like the rest of the panel, I'll ask them the same question I did to you last night. But do you guys think it, especially since this one's probably the longest Disney Plus show outside of What If, I feel like they could have spared...
WandaVision.
Oh, that's true. I feel like they could have... But even then, WandaVision got the 2-episode pilot, because...
Start.
Yeah, that, and I feel like this show could have spared that, especially since even if it was this particular episode split into 2 but more fleshed out, or even just showing us what the show is actually going to be about, because this one was basically the exposition episode, and I feel like it rushed way too fast through her getting her powers, her training, and then all of a sudden that very lame fight at the end that was like over before.
Oh, I had no problem with the fight. I didn't think it was lame at all.
It
was
terrible.
It was terrible. There was literally just
What was terrible about it?
one kick and that's it. And
What are you
it
talking
just
about?
the fight.
They were just kicking. They were like
no.
throwing things at each other. They were
courtroom
thunderclapping
kicking
each other
versus
The
the very last fight. It's like literally.
But that's the thing. I was glad that they didn't make it too much of a fight, because after all, they are cousins and they're not literally trying to kill each other.
No.
So the fact
you're
that it was just a little tussle.
You're
makes
not
sense.
listening to the thing in the courtroom. They weren't fighting in a courtroom.
Oh,
Like literally that
Fight.
scene felt like super rushed. Like, oh shit, we got 1 minute. Just
Yeah.
have that chick come in and do a drop kick
Yeah.
and then get her ass whooped. And yeah, I could see because
Oh yeah. Well, that was like a little tease for what the rest of the show's gonna
Yeah,
be. But
but-
yeah, I do agree. It was like, what the hell? That was like just
Yeah,
over
like,
and done, like super fucking.
it
quick,
just
like 20
jumped
seconds.
into that scene and then it got out of it. And it's like I feel like they should have had a second episode that kind of fleshed out, or like whatever episode 2 is, I feel is gonna overall show what the show is gonna be about, without having to be restricted to the exposition episode. And I feel like they in my opinion should have released 2 episodes at once. But how do you guys feel
Yeah,
about
I
that?
think so too. Especially with there being 9, they could have easily dropped 2 at once, because they already gave critics the first 4. So a lot of people have already seen the first 4 episodes of this, and a lot of them have said that like the first episode and the 4th episode are like the strongest of what they've showed so far. So that at least tells me that instead of going downhill.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, you cut off. Oh yeah, no, he's gone completely.
He's
Oh
gone.
damn!
He's
Wow.
not exploded.
I guess instead of going downhill, it'll go up a little bit, and we'll see from there.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see, because
I'm finishing his thought for him.
we'll see.
Can I
I don't know.
ask you guys something else too?
What's up?
Yeah.
Like, so I was a little
Podcast.
confused.
Wish I could
Was
stay on.
that? Oh,
You're back?
is he back? And he's gone again. Were those hookers that were trying to help her out, like in the beginning when they were trying to give her like makeup and stuff like that, or was that just like
I
random
think that was
women?
just random women at a bar, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Look here, when you go out and you well, I just never personal experience whatsoever. But like when you go into, go to a bar, you go into the women's restroom and there's other girls there, they're drunk enough or even just a little bit buzzed. Look here, they're gonna help you. They're gonna
Okay.
try to help you as best they could. And she was beat up, so they were just like, you know what, we're gonna help you through this. Don't worry about,
Damn.
thinking that she was,
I see.
abused or something. They're like, no, she just had a rough day.
Damn.
Like,
I
no,
mean,
we're
like,
gonna take you.
I hope you understand, Cap. Like, men don't do that. They're just kind of like they see you bleeding. I think they're like, "Damn, dude, you got your ass beat."
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go
right.
take a piss. I'm gonna go take a
Look
piss, and
here,
I'm out of
women
here.
take care of women, okay?
Oh man.
Oof.
Well, we need to step it up, guys. If you're listening, if you're not, step it up. Step it up.
But
Okay, so actually going back to Morty's question about should it be 1 or 2 episodes, I kind of feel like it should have been maybe 2, but I get the reason why they did 1 so people can get hooked. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? The first episode, because if we're talking about 2, then it's kind of be like a over redundant of kind of comedy. But since we have 1 episode, we can talk about the humor and everything. But hey, I mean, it is Marvel's decision
yeah,
of
but
releasing
that's
one
what my
episode at a
question
time.
was. Was that exposition episode really what you would consider having a good hook, or do you think to let you know what this show is about? And I'm not just saying like it's about She-Hulk, obviously, but like where the story is going. Do you guys think that did a good hook on it, or do you think it was just literally the exposition episode? Is what more or less the question was.
Okay. I think for me, I think it was a I think it was both. I think it was a good hook, also an acquisition episode because it kind of gave us like the character of She-Hulk and throughout the show, like her type of humor is and how the show is going to present itself down the road. So I think there's a pretty good blueprint of how what each episode might look like moving forward. So I think they did, like, hey, here's his episode, here's the exposition episode, but at the same time, here's what the other episode is going to be like moving forward. So it kind of gave us like a lens of how it's going to be, so to speak.
Okay, and before we leave for the night, because I feel like we covered pretty much most of what the episode was like, but it did open some doors because we know that there's going to be a lot of cameos, a lot of stuff like that, and seeing like that Scardian craft. What do you guys think would speculate and expect to see as far as cameo goes that you would like to see in this show or think that it will happen? And second part of the question is, like we know Daredevil's gonna be there, and there was a tease of Johnny Blaze. So the second question would be like, are you guys okay with them showing up in this show? Like, let's say Johnny Blaze, and we've seen that every character so far that's been teased or we've actually seen in this episode or this show seems like they automatically become lighthearted. So would you guys like to see stuff like Ghost Rider in the show, or do you guys think if they're going to turn him into like a comedic character to fit in with the rest of the characters here, maybe save him for something else? How do you guys feel about what we might see? And I'll let go. I'll let Miscap go first, and then you guys could decide who goes next. I'll be right back.
Yeah, with the cameos, I know we know Devil is confirmed, but I really just want to see how they vibe kind of with the level of what they're vibing with. Can't think of any other word other than vibe of the show itself. So I mean, if they do bring in, like Ghost Rider and stuff like that, like hopefully he will be able to kind of vibe with what the show is trying to do. Maybe we'll get a little bit more serious depending on what type of peril she's going to become or go through. It's going to be some sort of peril. Has to be something. It can't be all fun and happiness and comedy. Comedy. There's got to be something that's going to happen. But the one thing I'm actually kind of curious if they're going to bring up is the Sokovia Accords, which I know it's been like literally in their universe like 10 years since that became a thing. And that was a thing where everybody had to, if you were super, you had to be registered and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if they're going to bring that up, or if that got amended, after the blip. I'm curious of how, legislation portion supers has changed since the blip. And I'm very curious if they're going to mention anything of that, since she kind of outed herself. If she has to go through that process,
that'd be interesting, and she would be like representing herself, I guess.
Right? Because we never, after I think Civil War, we never heard anything else from the Sokovia Accords, and then it was like Infinity War happened, the blip happened, everybody came back, and then nothing. So it was like, I wonder if it's still in place or something different now. Like there's less supers in the world, either they're retired or dead. So it's like unknown. So it's like I want to see, legislation portion of this. She is a lawyer, so she has to know some of these laws. So I'm very curious if they're going to mention it or even discuss it at any point.
What's your potential speculation list that might show up, JT?
For me, I am looking forward to see Deadpool. Hopefully, he'll be in the show because I think that his humor and She-Hulk's humor will kind of go hand in hand. And of course, Deadpool's humor is kind of grotesque, and I think that She-Hulk kind of appreciate that, especially coming from a guy like Ryan Reynolds, who's kind of a master of doing dirty jokes in between like Deadpool and Deadpool 2. But speaking of Miscap and the Sokovia Accords, I really think they need to answer that question in the show because, again, like Jenna, Jenna Walter, she is an attorney, and so she probably knows a lot about what happened before and after the blip because, like, Bruce kind of tells what's going on in the past. So, hopefully they would do a kind of serious few episodes about that, but like it would nice to see Deadpool might get to see Ghost Rider, of course, and some other like maybe like Ant-Man. That'd be kind of cool just to pop his head in once in a while and say hi to his old friend Bruce. So I don't know, just like different characters like that coming in and out of the show just to say hi and show the pretty faces would be kind of cool in the show.
Damn.
So,
what about you, Mr. Joestar? What do you think might be down the line that this show might introduce?
I'm thinking that She-Hulk might be CGI'd into a bikini, and that would not be bad to look at. That would be one. Definitely with what? No laughs? Jesus, what are you guys, prudes?
extra laugh.
But I will say though, like the chemistry that Bruce Banner and She-Hulk has, like it's very playful. So I think that it would be like I know that he was just like, all right, good luck, goodbye, but it would be necessarily like a thing where she would have to keep on going back to Bruce just to like answer more questions about certain things that she probably is gonna have to overcome through this whole journey. So definitely a lot more Bruce Banner. Yeah, and like definitely like I would hope that they would bring in more of the attorney stuff, which is like they'd probably see like Foggy and like the other chick with yeah, and actually like Matt Murdock, all together, that they try to help her out with maybe certain situations,
cool.
which would be really cool. Maybe like a little cameo of like bad guys as well, surrounding like the Daredevil, because I really do think like they're trying to kind of pawn off a little bit of that series into this one, which is like, Daredevil Reborn again. So I'm thinking like maybe she might have to encounter people that it's going to be Daredevil's opponents as well. Maybe also like with like the Kingpin and stuff like that. So who knows? Definitely it'd be something to really into, especially like on that side, because whenever it comes to like the attorney side, we're always going to think about like the bad guys of like Daredevil as well, because he's always fighting mob bosses and stuff like that. So other than that, like, I mean, that's just my expectation, is just like seeing that she actually becomes stronger by the help of Bruce Banner, and also getting to meet other wildly characters when it comes to like Daredevil. And I mean, if you kind of threw in what's it called, Deadpool and stuff like that, now I don't know how they're gonna introduce that, like especially since he's like, his humor is like an R-rated kind of humor, like my kind of humor. I mean, obviously, you guys didn't laugh about her in a bikini, so I don't think Deadpool's going to be in this. So, definitely, it's just one of those things where I could probably see more of the line of like the people who are going to be in the next upcoming shows or in the movies. So, definitely something to look forward to. I just can't wait to see what they actually do with it.
Yeah. I personally think that they're probably going to have, of course, like Daredevil. We know that for sure. A couple of his characters, but mainly I think this is going to be a little segue personally into Thunderbolts. She's probably going to be helping out, because you got the Val lady recruiting certain people, but I think like in Abomination's case, I think that She-Hulk's going to make some sort of new legal team that will help maybe like put them in that program to be like, okay, well, if you guys help us out and do this type of stuff, we'll go ahead and reduce your sentence or drop the charges, as long as you guys show that you have been rehabilitated and are fighting for
kind
the
of like
good
a
fight.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, basically, because that's what it's leading up to, honestly. But man, I went like blank right now, because you mentioned something, Mr. Joestar, a second ago that got my gears moving, but I lost the thought. It was
About what, like seeing people from like Daredevil, or pawning it off from that, or Foggy, and like the other people, or
Or Deadpool.
seeing She-Hulk in a CGI bikini. Like,
that was
you gotta
probably
You
it.
get
That was
it? That's
probably
your
it.
dream. Boy.
No, but yeah, no, I feel like definitely it was a decent start to begin. It showed that it wasn't a bad show. I just feel like it could have started off on a bit stronger footing, which would be a little bit more engaging. Because right now I'm like, oh yeah, this looks like something that's watchable, and I'll continue watching it all the way through. But it wasn't something that was like, I don't know, like let's say some of those other Disney Plus shows, they came out and you're like, oh, okay, that was really interesting. I want to see, like WandaVision, I want to see the next episode. Moon Knight, you're like, oh man, I can't wait till next week to see the next episode and where it's going, at least for the pilots. This one, I just felt like, oh, okay, I'll tune in next week, but I in no, not necessarily in a hurry to be for it to be next week for the new episode.
You'll watch it on Sunday instead of or Thursday. I totally get that.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I'll watch it before the next episode we have, but I'm in no hurry. I think I watched this one Saturday night or Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Me too.
Granted, I did
I don't
want to
like
try to
spoilers.
watch.
I gotta watch it on the day.
Yeah, I tried to watch it the day it released, but I had other stuff to take care of. Again, it wasn't like a priority. I didn't necessarily make a bunch of room for it. And honestly, again, I just feel like it just was a good start, but not a great start, especially when they did spend part of the episode with that whole every man is a dick bag, this and that. I just feel like it's overplayed. Apparently now, if you have a female character, every single one has to go through that. I mean, we had it with Captain Marvel. We technically had it with Miss Marvel. So it's like, how many times are we going to see that same story being played out in the MCU? And I feel like that time. Go
That's
ahead.
the new era, man. That's the new era that we live in, man. Like nothing against women or anything like that. It's just like it seems like feminism was kind of thrown into a lot of the stuff, especially if it was like a movie based, a woman movie based.
Mhm.
Like it's usually
Mhm.
kind of the thing where like they just put down men on certain things, and it's understandable. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, but that's what I'm
believe
saying.
me,
Like,
It
women.
happens,
but
yeah,
I'm
but I
Yeah,
feel like it doesn't happen to every.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know
Like,
what
yeah,
I
I
mean?
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
It's
we
like
could see it in
major female character. It's like, oh, this happened to me because it's like
yeah,
relatable, but
but
it's like
that's
it doesn't happen to everybody
but it's
either.
literally retreading every single time. Like, let's say DC could have it with Wonder Woman. We already saw it in the MCU with Captain Marvel to begin with. It's like within the same franchise, do we need to see it every single time a new female character is introduced? I personally do not think so. I feel like they could get a little bit more creative
Mhm.
with that type of aspect, and
Mhm.
I feel like they could make a female character more relatable without having to rely on that single aspect of it. But
Yeah.
again, I'm not a female, so I don't know. That's not my area of expertise. But that would just be my opinion. Like if I saw the same character arc being done over and over and over again in the same franchise, I'd be like, okay, are we getting something new? Um,
No,
but
I agree.
Yeah,
As a
but I
woman,
mean,
I
like,
agree.
well, I'm glad you do, because I will say though, like the times have changed because like it was pretty shitty for women back in the day. I mean, you couldn't really get
Mhm.
like a good job unless you actually slept with someone, or they degraded you to a point to being like a maid at home. Like it wasn't really necessarily like
yeah, and
just the jobs. It was just the way any woman was treated. And
there's
now,
still
like, it's cool. Like now, women can do shit that's way better than men, like all
yeah,
across the
but
board, right?
Yeah.
it still exists, but it's definitely better than it
Yeah,
was.
You
was
can
yeah,
do it
most
in a
definitely.
way where it doesn't seem like the guy's being a dick the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I
yeah,
mean, like, oh yeah, women can do what guys can do, but you don't have to tear down the guy to do it either. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, we're
yeah.
equals. That's cool, right? Yeah, that's cool. All right, we can move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
like I said, I feel like we touched pretty much up on everything. So a general consensus. Let's go on to vote real quick and say yay or nay on She-Hulk. We'll start with you, Miscap.
I'm gonna go with yay for now. We'll see what next week holds.
Yeah, because
But
we.
as for this week and this first episode, I'll go yay.
Okay, what about you,
Yeah.
JT? You seemed a little confused earlier, or you confused us. You probably know what you're thinking, but us, we're confused. Where are you at?
I will get my popcorn ready. I will get my chocolate ready. I'll have some tissues out, if possible. I don't know, but I will enjoy every minute of
Whoa,
this
whoa,
series. So
whoa! Why are
yeah,
you
Yeah.
bringing
Well,
tissues
okay.
out?
That's still
Oh no!
confusing.
I don't.
Either a yay or a nay.
Yeah, what?
yay! Yes.
Okay.
Wow, the fact that I didn't even, man, I'm the dirty one here, and you the
Well,
one that
that's what I'm
caught that.
saying.
I
I'm
was like,
like,
what?
No,
I was like,
no.
I literally said, I was like, oh, it's gonna be
JT,
sad.
we about to
Like,
have
it's
to
gonna be
remove the
sad.
family friendly label from this episode today. What's going on? I'm gonna take it.
Busting the
Wait,
I'm
balls.
gonna take it that you're gonna be
We're just
crying because
busting. We're
it's
just
such an
busting.
emotional
We're just
show,
busting. I'll
right?
take it.
It's
No,
for
no,
the
seriously.
tears. It's for the tears.
Yes,
It's for the
exactly. It's for the
There you
tears.
go.
It's nothing
It's for the
else.
tears. It's for
All
the
right.
tears.
We'll leave it at
I'm
that.
sorry, just calm now.
But what about you, Mr. Joestar? Yay or
Shit,
nay?
I guess I'm bringing my lotion just to
Oh,
moisturize.
no.
Just to moisturize my elbows. My elbows. My elbows. Sorry, I had to throw that one in there. Definitely, it is a big yay for me. Like, I really do want to see how this thing works out, and it's actually not bad. Even though we shit talked about it like for a good minute, we really like just railed the hell out of this thing, but you know,
Yeah.
it actually turned out to be okay.
See, and that's what I like about this panel, and that's why I mainly wanted to choose you guys, because when something's good, we look at both the pros and the cons, and we let you know how it is as to the audience. We don't just sugarcoat something, or we don't just completely shit talk unnecessarily about something. We just like to give our honest opinions.
I mean, we kind of do. That's the whole point of it. We should talk it. I mean, did you hear JT last time? Please, viewers, if you want to listen to the last ones, just listen to JT and just understand how confusing this was for all of us. Because even then, like, he was just saying, this is going to be complete garbage. He loses hope for Marvel in the future project. And we're like, geez, like, what happened? Mrs. Marvel really, like, took him down to, like, not even a third degree. It was just like to hopelessness, and
That
that's
was
why I was
Black
just
Widow.
like,
Yeah, he lost
"Oh
hope
man,
completely.
He
yeah,
lost it
yeah,
on Black Widow.
yeah." So yeah, just definitely can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah. So for me, it'd be a slight confused yay, but I'd say it's a yay just because it's closer to that than a nay. I'm like right on the edge of the middle ground. But no, it was enjoyable. It had its moments of it being fun, a little bit rushed, but it was a interesting show. Like I did maybe chuckle one or two times in through it, and overall it was just like JT kind of said, something you could just kind of shut your brain off for a bit and just have a good time, even if it's not the greatest thing ever. So I'd say it's a yay, man. My thing is so low, so quiet, but yeah. So we'll go ahead and I guess close the episode out with that, and we'll see next week how things have held up for She-Hulk, and but until then. Go ahead and if you enjoyed what you listened to, other than the technical difficulties, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you can. It would mean the world to us. And besides that, I'd like to thank the audience for showing up and listening to another episode with us of us kind of, I guess you could say, bitching and moaning, but also praising some stuff and being rather confused with what the hell was going on with JT. But but if you do want to check out the uh, version of this without it being messed up, it will be up on Spotify probably by the end of the week. That one should have the first 10 minutes that were not messed up by OBS. So thank you guys, the panel, for joining me today and discussing this thing that turned out to be a little bit of a pleasant surprise. But hopefully you guys are doing good and you guys continue to do good. But until then, we'll see y'all next week on Marvel Mondays at the Screen Crusader chat.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.